Morning, everyone. So 15 minutes on social media, that's either a very long time or a very short time, depending on your point of view on things. I would like to start about 30 years ago, a little over 30 years ago. I opened a restaurant called the Atlantic Bar and Grill, and I employed a full-time restaurant PR in-house. And after the first call, the girl Sarah said to me, she put the phone down and she said, the woman at Vogue just said to me, she said, how the world has gone mad. Restaurants now have an in-house PR. And that was the sort of state of the hospitality business at the time. There was very few restaurants. And I remember, in actual fact, this is a technology issue, when we opened up the Atlantic, we had to write our own software for the computer systems because there wasn't a software package available in the UK that could cope with 18 till points in a restaurant. And PR, the sort of restaurant PR business was born around that time. Now, we had a very, very simple formula, which was, how do you get A.A. Gill through the door? How do you get Jonathan Meades through the door? Because they were the gods of the restaurant business. If you got a review from any of these people, a positive review, a bad review, mostly not good, but could be good depending. I mean, your whole life was focused on getting these people through your door. There was nothing else. Nothing else existed. And, you know, restaurants lived and died on that fact. If you got a great review from Gill, I mean, obviously Gill, because of the Sunday Times at the time, which had 6 million readers, would, you know, fill your restaurant in seconds. I remember one morning, Sunday morning, I'm lying in bed in my 20s, probably pretty hungover, and my phone is ringing and ringing. And I'm thinking, oh, jeez, I'll answer the phone. They go, Oliver, have you read the Sunday Times? I'm going, no. I said, Gill's review the restaurant. Get it. So I'm scrambling. I get another call. Oh, no one's answering the phones. So I had to go into the restaurant. And let me tell you, I am not great at taking reservations because, you know, that is just not my skill. And the phones had just gone mad. And I sat there in the restaurant with my girlfriend at the time, just bang, 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 taking reservations. And that was the impact of A.A. Gill at the time. And your restaurant would be given at least a 2-year holiday period if you were that successful. And then things moved on. You know, you had to work out how to sustain a restaurant, so you would have a PR and marketing meeting every week, and you would come up with ideas to get people in, and you'd have wine dinners, you'd invite people along, and it was, you know, it was all chugging along quite nicely. And then someone mentioned social media to me. I mean, I'm going, yeah, okay, social media, great, let's talk about that. I said, well, you know, we should have a Facebook account, and we should have, and I'm going, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that. And then all of a sudden someone said, oh, well, you know, you should, maybe it's a bit more than that. Maybe we need some ideas for this. Let's do something on Twitter. And, you know, when Twitter was born, we used to do things like, we would say the first 5 people down to the bar get a free glass of rosé and all these sort of things. And the uptake was insane when you'd done these sort of little offers. And, you know, we gathered followers and everything was great. And every week we'd have meetings about how we can get more Twitter followers, and all was good. Then someone said, oh, you know, you should look at Instagram. You know, it's the photographic version of Twitter. I go, really? Oh, God, another thing. Okay, let's do that. Then, you know, Twitter was born, and then we're going, okay, Instagram's born. We go, okay, photographs, right, let's do photographs. And then all of a sudden, you know, Instagram became this very important part of our life. Then we started thinking, well, actually, the PR and marketing meetings no longer were about print. Nobody was doing print. You know, all of a sudden, the reviewers in the reviewed restaurants traditionally really had very little impact on the success of your restaurant. And I know this for a fact because, you know, you can have the whole nature of the success of restaurants no longer depends on print media. You know, and now the way the restaurants look at the combination of things that make their restaurant successful has altered dramatically. I mean, I was going home last night with my son from a restaurant, and we were talking about Murdoch. And he's 17, turning 18 next month. And he said, who's Murdoch? You know, and it's very, very interesting because he didn't say it out. You know, he's not He's pretty well read, and he's not stupid. But Rupert Murdoch means nothing to him. It's not in his vernacular. But quite interestingly, he's not on social media either, and neither is my daughter. So the evolution of all these things, I mean, to me, is actually fascinating, because as social media developed as an important form of marketing for restaurants, something weird happened, because all of a sudden, I think it became something negative rather than something positive. It had a period of it was just stuff. And all of a sudden, people started obviously taking gifts from restaurants to go to them. Advertising became more prominent. I mean, I certainly know on my Instagram account now, it is, I don't see Instagram as information. I see it as advertising, because the second thing in my Instagram account is an advert, the fifth thing in my account is an advert, and I don't feel a personal relationship with it in the same way. So the way that we treat social media in restaurants has changed a lot. I think it's about it's about creating a story. I mean, I was standing, knowing that I was coming here to talk, I was just thinking, I listen more intently to people about what they think about restaurants. And I was standing with two very famous restaurateurs, and they said, I haven't been to a good restaurant in ages. And I was thinking, really? You haven't been to a good restaurant in London in ages? I said, is that really true? He said, yeah. He said, they're all the same. And I sort of agree with that, because in restaurants in London, many of the chefs have worked for other chefs, and there's a sort of gradual little change in the restaurant scene. You tend to find restaurants are predominantly purveying, by and large, the same sort of food. Different environments, slightly different colour crockery, different colour apron. Oh, new supplier of aprons. Yeah, I'll put that on there. That's all good. But there's not any great big movement. And I think what's important about that is people create stories now. Successful restaurateurs are selling a lifestyle on their social media accounts. People want to be part of something. I was doing a tour for Pernod Ricard. I started in Stockholm, and there was a big event with a famous chef there. And I had, you got to not listen to this bit, but I had a chicken liver parfait on chicken skin, which was a very trendy canapé for a while. I came to London. I'd done the same talk in London. Same canapé. I went to New York. This is all in 2 weeks. I went to New York. Another famous restaurateur. Same speech by me. Same canapé. I went to LA. Same thing. That really, there was an epiphany of a moment for me about food, because you can have 1 million Instagram followers. All of the people, these chefs, were influenced by René at Noma, and that was his canapé. And that canapé had traveled around the world, and everybody within the space of a month is creating the same canapé. And I think that's quite interesting in the way that we sort of see social media. I don't think the amount of followers matters so much anymore. If we put on an offer for a restaurant, say the first 5 people down get, it doesn't really have the same impact. What has an impact is when a chef has a story, when you are Sky Greenall and you're doing biodynamic farming and there's whole threads through it, and there's a lifestyle thing. People want to be part of something. People want to be part of veganism. People want to be part of a story, whatever the story is. So restaurants and chefs create stories about their lives. And I think the future is really about that. It's about creating the story and about making people part of something. I started with the idea, of A.A. Gill and restaurant reviewers. I am not sure if in another 30 years' time that Instagram or Twitter will really exist, because the speed at which things have changed is so fast. I think the way people communicate and the way the messages communicate. None of my family are on social media. Many young people don't trust social media now for lots of reasons, and I think they're people who are soon going to be consumers. My children are in their teens. They have a very, very dim view of social media. They don't trust it anymore. And I think it's going to be interesting, because I think people in their 20s and 30s are part of that scene. I wasn't part of social media in a way. I had to be dragged to the table on social media when we'd have the PR and marketing meetings. Like, oh, really, what's social media? What's that? You know, but my children really don't like social media, and their friends don't like social media. Of course, some of their friends are on social media, but I doubt whether in the long term the existing form of social media is going to play an important part in marketing. I think it remains to be seen. That's my thoughts.